Western Conference Finals Game 7. That's what you've been asking for.
That's what you've been asking for, man. That's what you've been asking for.
All right, let me stop. Yeah! Run It Back Nation, what is good? Welcome to another episode of Run It Back NBA. I am your host, DJ Eastwood, the host of Run It Back Philly, where I cover the Philadelphia 76ers every day for 7 years. I started this NBA show to talk about the rest of the NBA because the 76ers piss me off, man. Thank you for being here. We got a Game 7 on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. The San Antonio Spurs mollywop, to be quite honest with you, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now we have what everybody's been asking for. A Western Conference Finals Spurs Thunder Game 7. What everybody's been asking for all season long. Let me get some air. What everybody's been asking for all season long will go down on Saturday, tomorrow night. Today is Friday, TGIF. Hope you're all having a good Friday. Hope this is your last day of work and you get to clock out and go hang out with your family and friends before Saturday, where we all must lock in and watch Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. We're going to talk about the Spurs game, how I think it went, what I think was the deciding factor, what this means, who do you think takes Game 7. We're going to talk about also, has the narrative on OKC affected the officiating? And we're going to go into, a little bit of this conversation about San Antonio maybe taking some cheap shots. What happened in Game 5? There was also some physicality last night that was a little bit across the line. We're going to talk about that too. Has the narrative around OKC and the foul baiting, etc., affected the way the series has been officiated the last couple of games? We got to talk about that. And, did Wemby put out a hit on some guys? Because I think I was wrong about that yesterday. And then we have some news on Mitchell Robinson of the New York Knicks, who broke his pinky finger. There's an update on that, and there's a video showing how he broke it. But we do believe that he is going to play in the NBA Finals. He can't shoot the ball anyway, so I don't know if his pinky finger really matters. What's up, guys? Who's in the chat, man? Do me a favor, hit the like button one time. What's up? Who's in the chat? Where are you at now? I want to hear your take before I lash out against the Spurs. What does that mean? What does that mean? Are you talking to me? Is you talking to me? Hey, man. Do you know who I am, man? I'm the bad guy. All these people, they see me. They need me to be the bad guy. I forget the quote, man. I wanted to quote Scarface. Would that make you good? I forget the quote, man. How do you mess that up? Like you said, for the Spurs to win, Wemby had to strap up, and that he did. Hope to see my Sixers do the same someday. Well, the 76ers haven't done what the Spurs did last night in over 40 years. So stop hoping. It's never going to happen. They did strap up, I guess, against the Boston Celtics, came back from a 3-1 deficit. They did do that. It's natural for Texas and Oklahoma to dislike each other, okay? This is what happens when you develop G League team player. Lawrence Talley, what's good, my man? Longtime subscriber and member of Run It Back Philly. This is what happens when you develop G League team. Exactly. Both teams, right? Julian Champagnie plays for the Spurs. Sixers released him in 2023 to sign Mac McClung so Mac McClung could participate in the NBA dunk contest. Yeah, that's a true story. 76ers also traded Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder because they thought he was washed. And it just turns out he's actually better than almost every player on the 76ers roster. This is what happens when you develop players. Absolutely. 2-1-0. Game 7 is the end of the road for this series. May the best team win. Let's see. Spurs are dirty and do not deserve to win. They are playing with hate, and that is why they will lose. Oh, no! Wahoo 27 thinks the Spurs are playing dirty, and they do not deserve to win. Wahoo is predicting the basketball gods turn it around and answer the call for the Spurs in Game 7. The Western Conference Finals has been an awesome series, but scary as hell. Thanks, DJ. What's up, man? Thank you for coming through. Yes, you the guy. I'm just pissed. First of all, you said yes. We're gonna skip over that. You the guy. I'm just pissed. I guess Spurs ethical hoops now translates to doing cheap shots and the refs allowing it to happen. Oh, Thunder fans are upset about what went down last night. We're gonna talk about all of it. Yeah. Here's my take on it, man. Here's my take on it, man. The San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama answered the call last night. And that's all there is to it. They answered the call, right? After Game 5, I didn't think Wemby played through physicality. I didn't think he was assertive enough. I thought Hartenstein was really just pushing him out of the lane, and he was living at the three-point line. On top of that, the Spurs weren't making shots in Game 5, so none of it was working. And Game 5 was another game from Jared McCain, another game from Alex Caruso. And Victor Wembanyama, after Game 5, did not speak to the media. He did not speak to the media. He was locked in. From the end of Game 5, Victor Wembanyama was locked in. And this guy has a mentality. This guy has a mental fortitude at 22 years old that is damn impressive. It really, really is. Because I've watched veteran NBA players in these playoffs roll over and die. I watched veteran NBA players go through what the Spurs went through in Game 5 and lay down and die in Game 6 and die in Game 7. And I was questioning it. I think I have a clip from this show that is titled, excuse me a second. I think I have a clip from this show that is titled, The Spurs' Inexperience is Starting to Show. And that was in Game 5, right? They could have continued down that trajectory. The Thunder could have kept their foot on their necks and could have ended the series last night. But Victor Wembanyama, he has a mental fortitude that has not been seen from a player at 22 years old in a long, long, long time, maybe ever. And he was so mad after Game 5. He walked straight out the building. Didn't even talk to the media. I don't give a fuck. I'll pay the fine. I got shit to do. I got stuff to work on, and it starts right now. And I think it started right at the end of Game 5. And I said, Wemby needs to channel the monks again. He needs to channel whatever the hell he did before Game 1. And Game 3, I think they lost Game 3, but the beginning of Game 3 in San Antonio, they came out with a crazy level of energy and got up to a 17-4 lead, and then OKC crawled back into it. You know what I'm saying? But I thought they needed to channel that level of energy again, and I don't know what it is that Victor Wembanyama does in between games. It feels like he channeled that energy. And he walked into the arena in whatever the garb is that he's wearing with the monks. All right? He's got, you know, a cloak on and sandals. And that means he means business. And Victor Wembanyama answered the call. Everybody was wondering, what's he going to do? Is the inexperience showing? Is OKC exposing them? Straight up answered the call. He was going absolutely bonkers in the first quarter. You know, what did he have? 11 points in the first quarter. I think he had 3 made threes. He had the same amount of made field goals in the first quarter of Game 6 that he had the entire game in Game 5. Dropped 28 and 10 in 3 quarters. Shot was falling. Playing physical, playing through contact. And we're going to talk about the officiating. Don't you worry. Because I have an opinion on how the series has been officiated from the beginning to the end. But I thought Wemby and the Spurs played through physicality. I thought, the whole thing here for the Spurs revolves around Victor Wembanyama. He had to answer the call, and he answered the call. SGA did not answer the call. SGA did not answer the call. And he hasn't been answering the call, to be totally honest with you. Basically what has happened with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the second half of this playoff series is the San Antonio Spurs are doubling him, and not even just doubling him. They've played some incredible ISO defense on him in a lot of these games. Basically, San Antonio has said, we're going to attack SGA, we're going to get the ball out of his hands, and we're going to make somebody else beat us. And what has happened throughout the series, in my opinion, is some of those games, other players step up and make shots, right? Alex Caruso having 31 points in game 1 and went to double overtime. Then he had another big game in game 5. He was 4 for 5 from 3 in game 5, if I remember correctly. You got the Jared McCain games, right, which feels like now every other game, right? Jared McCain drops 24 in an OKC win when SGA isn't shooting the ball well, and the Spurs are defending him, with throwing the kitchen sink at him. The game after that, Jared McCain doesn't have a good game, and OKC loses. And they don't shoot the ball well in that game, and OKC loses. Game 5. Did I just freeze? Oh, we're good. Game 5, OKC comes out, same story. Or game 4, I'm sorry. OKC comes out, same story. SGA, they're throwing the kitchen sink at him. He's not shooting the ball well. You get a 24-point Jared McCain game. You get a 19-point Alex Caruso game. You get a big game from Cason Wallace off the bench. You get a big game from Jay Will hitting some shots. Game 5, and I'll probably edit this and chop it up because I can't remember if it's game 5, game 6, game 4, game 3, whatever it is. But it feels like every other game, OKC gets shooting off of the SGA gravity. And when they don't get the shooting off the SGA gravity, it's been a wrap. It's how they've lost every game now. And it's how they lost the game last night. And I don't think SGA answered the call. Because Jared McCain's going to be inconsistent. He's a 22-year-old second-year player who didn't even play a full rookie season because of injury. And he's incredible when he's hot. When he's cold, you might as well take him off the floor. So OKC didn't get the shooting. And I just feel like SGA didn't answer the call. And shout out to the Spurs individual defense. Stephen Castle's defense on SGA was massive throughout the game. Devin Vassell's defense on SGA was massive throughout the game. Forced a shot clock violation on him at one point. Rookie Carter Bryant, his ISO defense on SGA was massive throughout the game. And so it's not even just the strategic double teams with SGA in Game 6. A lot of it was one-on-one defense. And he was kind of getting clamped. And I said after Game 5, I think I said after Game 4, SGA has to step and play through physicality, right? He had a better game in Game 5, but I still didn't feel like he dominated. I thought like it's just a matter of time now. You're going to get that game where SGA dominates. Game 6, he didn't answer the call at all, man. 15 points in 28 minutes. 33% from the field, 6 for 18, 0 for 5 from 3. So in my opinion, Wemby answered the call. SGA did not answer the call. And the question now for the Oklahoma City Thunder is the same question we had for Wemby before Game 6. Is he going to answer the call? Is he going to dominate? Again, this whole series, you can say role players, rebounding, defense, all these things canceled out, and it's Wemby versus SGA. Who's going to answer the call? It's Wemby versus SGA. Who's going to answer the call? Game 5, SGA and Wemby did not. Game 6, Wemby and SGA did not. And now you're down to a Game 7. All the pressure's on Oklahoma City, to be totally honest with you, and all the pressure is on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Partly because of the narrative, right? The narrative is that he foul baits. The narrative is that he sells calls and gets to the line, even though the free throw numbers advantage San Antonio throughout this series. And I do think SGA sells calls, but I don't think it's why the Thunder win. But if you just look at the narrative, and then you look at how the Spurs have begun to defend Oklahoma City, and you look at maybe the officials putting the whistle back in their pocket after a couple of games, the pressure, I think, now is on SGA to dominate Game 7. Not rely on the whistle. Not, feel a little bit of contact and fall down. The pressure now is to put the ball in the hoop. Will he do that in Game 7? We will see. But I want to say that this game was officiated beautifully, I believe. I think it was officiated beautifully. I really do. I think this game is how all NBA games should be officiated. It just is, man. Who's going to put the ball in the hoop? Who's going to put the ball in the hoop, man? People want to see competition. People want to see the better team win the game. People don't want to see this whistle every 2 seconds, every 3 seconds, man. People don't want to see that. I thought this game was officiated beautifully. I thought this is how the whole series should have been officiated, and I hope they officiate it the same way in Game 7. Let the players decide what wins, man. Let the players decide who wins. This game came down to the third quarter, and the third quarter from the San Antonio Spurs was a total annihilation. It was a total annihilation, and the Spurs got out to the hot start that they got out to in Game 1 and Game 3, I believe. They go back to San Antonio. They come out with so much energy. They run it up in the first quarter. They were up by 12 in the first quarter. OKC fights back again. OKC had it down to, I think, 5 in the second quarter at one point, right before halftime. And so it all came down to the third quarter. And you say, who's going to dominate the third quarter? Whoever dominates the third quarter probably wins this game. Third quarter was a total annihilation by the San Antonio Spurs. A total annihilation, a total defensive masterclass from Stephen Castle, Carter Bryant, Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper, Wemby. It was a defensive masterclass. And the Oklahoma City Thunder couldn't make a shot. They could not make a shot. And look at these third quarter numbers, guys. Are you kidding me? The Oklahoma City Thunder, in the third quarter of this game, shot 6 for 28, 0 for 8 from three-point range, 4 turnovers. They had a stretch where they didn't score for over 7 minutes. And I want to give credit to Dylan Harper, man. I want to give credit to Dylan Harper because this run that the Spurs made at the end of the third quarter, I don't remember we can do the math right here. It was 70 to 62. It was 70 to SGA hit that tough mid-range jumper, I believe, over Carter Bryant, which was a ridiculous shot when Carter Bryant, again, was playing incredible one-on-one defense. SGA hits that mid-range jumper right there to make it an 8-point game. After that, the Oklahoma City Thunder did not score until under a minute left in the third. They went from 8 minutes remaining in the third to under a minute remaining without scoring a point. It was 72 to 64, and then it was 92. Wait a minute. Is that a 20 to 0 run? That is a 20 to 0 run at the end of the third quarter for the San Antonio Spurs. You get the De'Aaron Fox fast break layup, and De'Aaron Fox was buns again in this game, by the way. I want to talk about him and Dylan Harper maybe in a second. You get the De'Aaron Fox fast break layup. You get the Stephen Castle driving layup and one, 77-64. Dylan Harper hits a mid-range jumper. And this is really where the onslaught was for me watching the game. I thought Dylan Harper's defense to offense was incredible. He had 2 plays in a row where he stole the ball and got free throws on the other end on a fast break right here, right after the Stephen Castle layup and one. You got Dylan Harper mid-range jumper. You got Dylan Harper steal, fast break layup, foul. Dylan Harper steal, fast break layup, foul. Maybe it was Stephen Castle that had one of those steals, but either way, Dylan Harper was a huge part of the beginning of this run. Stephen Castle driving floater. Julian Champagnie layup. De'Aaron Fox free throws. Wemby free throws. De'Aaron Fox free throws. They were just attacking, and they absolutely dominated the end of the third quarter, a 20-0 run. And again, man, it's going to come down to shooting. It's going to come down to shooting at the end of the day. The Oklahoma City Thunder shot 25% from 3 in the game. And we could go back through the whole series and look at the games that they won. What did they shoot? Games that they lost, what did they shoot? Let's just do that. Where's it at? Where's the series at? I think if you go here, it'll give me the series. Yeah, let's just do that. Look, game 1, double overtime. Spurs win. OKC shoots 37% from 3. That's about league average. And you got that 31-point game from Alex Caruso, right? Game 2. Let's stay on track here. Game 2. Thunder win 122-113. OKC shot 36% from 3. So game 1, they lose in double overtime, close game. Game 2, they win about 36% from 3 and about 47% from the field in game 2. Game 3, they win convincingly, and they shoot 45% from 3 and 48% from the field. I believe that was the 24-point Jared McCain game, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. Game 4, Spurs blowout. OKC shoots 18% from 3 and 33% from the field. Game 5, OKC wins 44% from 3, 48% from the field. Game 6, Spurs blowout. OKC 25% from 3, 37% from the field. It all comes down to how the Oklahoma City Thunder shoot the ball off of the SGA gravity, and I also think SGA has not answered the call of playing through physicality in these last couple of games, and especially last night. And he hasn't shot the ball well the whole series, and I think Game 7 is going to be, does SGA answer the call? Do the Oklahoma City Thunder shoot better? Do they win the series? Game 7 for the Spurs is going to be, does Wemby continue what he continued in Game 6? And do they hold the Thunder to damn 20% from 3 and lock up SGA? That's what it is for me, man. And the next segment I want to talk about, the narrative, what the Spurs have been doing that has OKC fans calling them dirty. And, has the narrative around OKC changed the officiating throughout the series? Let's see. What you guys got? What's in the chat, man? Do you think the vast difference in officiating each game has played a toll in how some of these games go? Going from a tight whistle to no whistle every other game is weird. If you watch it that closely, I guess you could say that. I guess you could say that if you just look at the free throw numbers, but even last night, I still feel like there were calls made. I still feel like I saw OKC driving to the rim and getting some generous foul calls. And there was generous foul calls on the Spurs side too. I just think there was a lot more let go in this one, and I like how it was officiated, man. In the first quarter, I saw Lou Dort try to take a dive off of a screen. And I think taking a dive off of a screen is the most annoying thing in the NBA, and it's the most annoying thing that referees call in the NBA. When somebody sets a screen and you just run into the screen and throw yourself on the floor. I saw Lou Dort try to do that in the first quarter, and they didn't call it. I saw I saw Alex Caruso drive to the rim too in the first half, and he got bumped, but instead of going into the contact and trying to finish, he took a step away and tried to draw the foul, and they didn't call it. I don't think the officiating has been intentionally different every game. I don't think, what I'm trying to say is, I don't think the difference in officiating has affected the game. I think that the games have affected the officiating. Because let's call it what it is. NBA refs aren't good. The NBA officiating is not good. It's incredibly inconsistent. And Adam Silver can say whatever he wants to say. It's insanely inconsistent. But I think like what happened in each particular game, the online narrative, the outcry from fan bases, and the general mainstream media narrative about how a game was called definitely affected the next game. I do think that. And so I put in my notes here, has the narrative around OKC affected officiating throughout the series? And I think it has. And again, look, the Spurs have shot more free throws than the Oklahoma City Thunder in this series. The Oklahoma City Thunder are not winning because they're getting foul calls. I don't think that's happened all season. I don't think it happened in the playoffs. I think the narrative is massively overblown on the internet. I think that's true. I don't think they win games because they sell calls. But I do think that the narratives that have been built on the internet have affected the officiating in these games. Because OKC has won games in this series where they've played better than San Antonio, and I always give credit for that. And me personally, I'll always say 2 or 3 sells or foul baits, I don't think really affects the outcome of the game. I don't think OKC wins games because they do that. But when you see clips online after the game and Chet Holmgren diving under the rim when he was barely touched, right? Or Lou Dort, again, diving off of a screen and getting the call, right? Or SGA shooting the ball, getting brushed in his leg. Yes, it's a foul, but landing on the floor. And then the whole thing came out about how many times he lands on the floor per shot. And it's so much higher than everyone in the NBA. What I'm saying is the narrow compilations of OKC flopping and foul baiting, while it may not be the reason they won these games, I do think the NBA's officiating has adjusted after some of those games. And that's what I saw in this game. I saw some things in this game that would have been called in game 1, 2, 3, or 4 that just flat out were not called. And then it's all on OKC. Because if you're going to lean into contact and try to sell a call and the official swallows the whistle, now what are you going to do? You got to answer the call now. They didn't do that. They laid down and died. You got to answer the call. Now OKC needs to go out in game 7 and put the ball in the hoop. Because it seems like the NBA finally said, the fans don't like this. Even though it's not why they're winning games. The fan base is the fans are very upset. When it gets big enough that they're talking about foul baiting on ESPN and FS1 and every major NBA podcast and every major NBA YouTube channel, when the whole conversation is foul baiting, whether it's true or not, or whether it's why they win or not, I think the NBA made an adjustment. And I think now it's on OKC to answer the call. Okay, you're not going to give me that call, then I got to go put the ball in the hoop. I seriously think that, man. That's what I think. Now let's talk about Wemby's Wemby telling players to give a hard foul. Because I was wrong about this yesterday. I didn't see this angle of it, all right? In Game 5, when Mason Plumlee and Bismack Biyombo checked into the game, Victor Wembanyama, after getting blown out, said hard foul. He straight up leaned into Mason Plumlee's ear and said hard foul. Let's try to lip sync it here. Hard foul. Straight up, hard foul. He said it. has said it to him, right? Very next play or a couple plays, I don't remember, but Mason Plumlee just elbows the shit out of Jared McCain in the back, right? And to be honest with you, again, I said this yesterday, this is an illegal screen by Jared McCain. I love Jared McCain, but this is an illegal screen. I mean, you know, and so your response to the illegal screen is hit him. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying what the Spurs were doing here, right? And then Bismack Biyombo's foul after that is right here. And this was another foul on Jared McCain, and I don't really think this one was like egregious or anything. Maybe there's an angle where he hit him in the head or something, but Biyombo, I mean, he hit the ball, to be honest. A lot of body contact after the shot. Let's see this one again. Let's see the Biyombo one again real quick. Jared McCain. I mean, look, I love Jared McCain, but I fucking hate this. I hate this little Jalen Brunson slide in front of the defender and move backwards stuff, man. I hate that. Don't do that. Don't play the game that way. Look, Biyombo blocks the floater. Yeah, a lot of body contact. His elbow hit him in the head, I think. I don't even think that's a dirty foul, to be honest with you. But what I'm saying is this. Well, let's go to Carter Bryant, too. Let's go to a couple Carter Bryant plays from last night, right? Because it wasn't just Game 5. Last night, Carter Bryant is taking obvious shots at SGA. Taking obvious shots. This was the first one where he just looks right at him. I mean, brother, he's just looking right at him. He's looking into his soul. Straight truck stick. Bang. Right? Maybe that was I don't know if that was the first one or the second one, but there was two of them. And SGA's like, what the fuck, man? And they reviewed it, and they gave him a flagrant foul, okay? Carter Bryant, here's the second one that's not really being talked about. Here's the second one. Carter Bryant finds SGA again. There's Carter Bryant at the three-point line. Wemby goes up. No foul is called. Now watch Carter Bryant take out SGA again. Bang! Bang, brother! Bro, this is straight 90s bad boy Pistons type shit, man. That's what this is. And I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning it. What I'm saying is, I'm not condoning it, but I do respect it. Because, first of all, I'm from back in the day, right? And I think that, you know, when I see things in the NBA that remind me of playing basketball at a park, right? If you're doing annoying shit when you're playing basketball at a park, right? Like hooking a guy's arm, like grabbing a guy, like doing something fishy. I'm not saying OKC was, but I'm saying if San Antonio feels like they were. If somebody at the park feels like you're doing some weird shit, you know, enough times, they're probably just going to shoulder the shit out of you and knock you into the grass. You know what I mean? And then there's going to be a little bit of a scrap. So what I'm saying is that I respect it. I'm not condoning it, and I hope they're not intentionally trying to injure anybody. But what I'm saying is this. If San Antonio said, hey, we feel like OKC is foul baiting, we feel like OKC is fishing for contact, we feel like they're controlling the game by fishing out contact and flopping and getting foul calls. I'm not saying I believe that. Again, I don't think that's why OKC has won any of these games. I'm just saying, I think San Antonio, if they thought that, if they felt that way throughout the game, and then Wemby goes up to two players and says, hard foul, and they go lay some hard fouls on them, I respect it. And the reason I respect it is because I think San Antonio feels like if they want to play that way, and the officials are going to let them play that way, and we're going to get called for fouls for them playing that way, then we might as well go get our money's worth, right? The only way, if San Antonio feels like they're foul baiting and grifting and flopping, whatever you want to call it, the only way to get them to stop doing it is to maybe hit them a little harder when they do it, right? If they're going to call the foul anyway. That's what I'm saying about this situation. I'm saying that I respect it. because it reminds me of old school basketball. And now OKC has to answer the call, right? If San Antonio feels like they've been foul baiting and getting the benefit of the whistle, and the referees aren't going to do anything about it, and you go knock them around to send a little bit of a message, I respect it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I respect it. And now I feel like after Game 6, we can end all the conversation about this. We can end all the conversation about the foul baiting and the grifting. We can end all the conversation about, are they winning games because they get a whistle? Are they this? Are they that? Game 6 was clearly who's going to put the ball in the hoop more. And I think San Antonio did that, and I didn't think OKC answered the call. And now the pressure is all on OKC in Game 7. Because if it's going to be officiated like that, what are you going to do? Now you got to go put the ball in the hoop more than the other team. And you got to show everyone you're the best. You got to show everyone you're the better team. And SGA in Game 7 has to go out there and show everybody that you are the MVP. I am the MVP. I watched you go into so many fourth quarters in the regular season and absolutely dominate. I watched you drop 35, 40, 45 on teams in the regular season. I watched you single-handedly take over games and dominate. And now all the narratives and everything that happened throughout the series is out the window. It's a clean slate. Who's going to dominate the game, SGA or Wemby? SGA, are you going to let Wemby dominate the game? Are you going to sit back and let the Spurs do this and let them take Game 7? Or are you going to dominate the game and take Game 7 and go to the NBA Finals? And on the other hand, are the Spurs going to do what they did in Game 6? Are they going to answer the call and upset the Oklahoma City Thunder? I don't know the answer, but I know it's going to be a good one. That's my opinion on all of that, man. What do you guys think? What do you guys think, man? Let me know what you think. Carter Bryant was playing for the Cowboys last night. The difference is the Spurs get praised for this while OKC gets called Nazi Germany. Well, I think that's because this is a little bit new right now, right? The same thing will happen, right? If the Spurs upset OKC right now, and first of all, everybody loves an underdog. It's just the way it is. Everybody loves an underdog, right? So the entire nation is rooting for the Spurs right now. You know, it's just the way it is. Everybody loves an underdog, right? When you're the greatest, you're going to be hated. You know, when the Warriors were winning all those championships in 2015, 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever it was, everybody hated them. Everybody wanted them to lose, especially when Kevin Durant joined the team. Everybody hated them. Everybody wanted them to lose. It's just what happens when you're on top. Everybody hated the Bulls in the 90s, man. Everybody wanted them to lose because they were so unbeatable. Everybody roots for the underdog. It just is what it is. Now, if the Spurs upset OKC and go to the NBA Finals and win the NBA Finals, next year everyone's going to hate the Spurs. Maybe not next year, but the year after. When you're great for 3-4 years in a row, everybody starts to hate you. And then the same thing will happen, right? They'll start taking these clips of the Spurs' cheap shots and hard fouls. And everybody will make montages, and everybody will say, you know, Wemby's a dirty player, and the Spurs only win because they take cheap shots. And the same thing, the same exact thing will happen that's happening to OKC on the internet. And the reason it's happening is because we're in a social media age, and it sucks, to be totally honest with you. I enjoyed basketball in the 90s and early 2000s because none of this shit existed. If one guy had that opinion in a bar, he was just one guy. But now one guy can have an opinion, and a million people can see it on Twitter, and then they just run with it. You know what I'm saying? I just like to watch basketball, and I just want to see the best team win, man. That's what I think. That's what I think, man. Let's go over to the Mitchell Robinson injury, man. Mitchell Robinson broke his pinky finger, I believe, in Game 4 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we didn't really know it yet, right? And so It's crazy because yesterday I was saying, who should the New York Knicks want to play in the finals? And I was saying that they should want to play the San Antonio Spurs in the finals because it's a better matchup for them on the interior side when you look at the Spurs. And yes, Wemby's an amazing shot blocker, but speaking on physicality in the paint, I think the New York Knicks should want to play the Spurs because they will win the battle of physicality in the paint against Wemby and against Luke Cornett, right? And I was talking about Mitchell Robinson mostly because Karl Anthony Towns isn't exactly a physical center. And not that they would win the physicality in the paint, but they have a better chance of winning the physicality in the paint against the Spurs, I believe, than the Oklahoma City Thunder with Chet Holmgren and not Chet Holmgren physically, Isaiah Hartenstein, my bad. With Isaiah Hartenstein and Jay Will and Chet Holmgren, it's not a massive difference, but I think the New York Knicks should prefer to play the Spurs. And I was talking about Mitchell Robinson. And then he goes and he breaks his finger. And I'm like, wow, the Knicks are screwed here, aren't they? Let's look at the play where he broke his finger. And now I think there's a report that he's actually going to play. And, I mean, you know, he can't shoot the ball anyway, so he might as well just play in the game, right? Here's the play I believe where Mitchell Robinson broke his finger in Game 4 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. An absolute disastrous blowout in the second quarter. Oh, my God, the Cavaliers were so embarrassing. Here he's just fighting for a rebound. He goes to the floor here, I think. Yeah. And a player goes to help him up. And he doesn't give him his hand. There was Landry Shamet helping him up on his his right hand. Yeah, a player on the bench right here goes to help him up by his right hand. And he says no. He's holding his left wrist. But look at his right pinky. Looks a little jacked, doesn't it? Does his right pinky look a little jacked right there? So I think that's the play where Mitchell Robinson hurt his pinky. Yeah, his pinky looks jacked up, dude. But it was his left wrist, it looks like, that he hurt. Oh, we got a slow-mo of it? Okay. You're not really going to be able to see how he hurt his hand, I don't think. There he's holding his wrist again. But he played the rest of the game. And then it comes out a couple of days later that he has a broken finger. New York Knicks center Mitchell Robinson has suffered a broken right pinky finger, and there is no timetable on his return. But then Shams has a follow-up tweet just today where he says Mitchell Robinson has undergone surgery on his broken right pinky finger and fully plans to play in New York Knicks Game 1 of the NBA Finals against OKC or San Antonio next Wednesday while wearing a brace on his hand. So, Mitchell Robinson breaks his finger in Game 4 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. A couple days later, it's reported that he has a broken right pinky finger. No timetable for his return. The New York Knicks say, hey, man, you can't shoot the ball anyway. What do you need your pinky for? You know, cut it off and let's go, man. Cut that shit off and let's roll, you know? So then Shams reports that Mitchell Robinson has had his right pinky finger amputated. Mitchell Robinson has had his right pinky finger amputated and fully plans to play in Game 1. I'm kidding. He didn't have his pinky finger amputated. I tried to make a joke there and I messed it all up. But yeah, you can't shoot the ball anyway. What do you need your pinky finger for? Wrap that shit up and let's go. So Mitchell Robinson's going to be out there with a big club on his hand. And whether it's OKC or San Antonio, we're going to get some physicality under the rim and we're going to get some guys getting clubbed in the head by Mitchell Robinson. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. But I think this is going to be a great. I think this is going to be a great NBA Finals, man. I think this Western Conference Finals has been everything fans could have asked for between San Antonio and OKC. I think the Eastern Conference Finals was an absolute joke because James Harden is a fraud. And Donovan Mitchell is a fraud, and the Cleveland Cavaliers completely quit. And Kenny Atkinson is an excuse maker and doesn't have winning energy, if you ask me. And but the best team came out of the East. You know, the New York Knicks came out of the East. They're the best matchup for San Antonio or OKC. When you talk about one superstar, when you talk about role players, perimeter defense, shooting off of the gravity of their star player. When you talk about physicality under the rim, rebounding, hustle, heart, determination, all those things, the New York Knicks are the best team out of the East, and they're the team that can match up the best with San Antonio and OKC. So this Game 7 is going to be awesome, and I think this NBA Finals is going to be awesome, man. And I honestly fully expect still OKC to win Game 7. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying I expect OKC to win Game 7. I expect OKC to come out and say, all right, fine. You want to play like that? We're going to play like that. And I expect OKC to step up and answer the call in Game 7. That's what I expect. And I expect SGA, the MVP of the league, to step up and answer the call in Game 7. That's what I expect. Craig Roberts, thank you for the super chat, man. Hey, man, great show. Came as a Knicks fan, stayed because of the content. Keep up the good stuff. Feel your pain on the whole Jared McCain thing. Just found out OKC fleeced the Knicks on AJ Mitchell. Yeah, actually they did. I don't know if they fleeced them on AJ Mitchell. I think that trade was made before the draft, and then like the OKC drafted on behalf of the New York Knicks, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the Knicks drafted AJ Mitchell and then traded him to OKC. I think OKC drafted AJ Mitchell on behalf of the New York Knicks because the trade was already made. That's what I think. But yeah, the Knicks could have had AJ Mitchell. You're right about that. Thank you for the super chat, man. Alejandro, Adam Silver really don't care about improving the game. He speaks like a politician. I miss Stern. At least he held players accountable. I absolutely agree with you. The NBA is in a tough spot. Officiating is bad. Foul baiting is bad. It's all over the NBA. Everybody does it. They're teaching kids to do it at a young age. It's completely taking over the game, and it needs to be stopped. Adam Silver has no interest in stopping it. All Adam Silver is interested in is expanding the NBA globally and making the NBA bigger profits, because it's a corporation. And you're making the NBA bigger profits, you're making shareholders bigger profits, and it continues to go and go and go and go and go. This is what corporations are. Stakeholders put money in it. They get money back as the profits grow. All Adam Silver cares about is growing the profits of the NBA. And that's the sad part, because there's no reason to change it from a business standpoint. From a business standpoint, there's no reason to change it. Because the number one goal, unfortunately, is to make a profit. And if you look at a restaurant chain, right? If you look at the very first, maybe Applebee's, okay? It was probably a private-owned, local family restaurant, and they probably had fresh ingredients and recipes and made the best this or that, and it was probably wonderful. And then it got sold, and then it got bought out by equity companies 17,000 different times, and now the investors are running the business, right? And now there's an Applebee's in every neighborhood on every street corner, and it's absolute dog shit. But there's no reason for Applebee's to make the food better, is what I'm saying, because the profits keep growing. Instead of making the food better, they'll make a $5 million commercial with fucking Ben Affleck eating at Applebee's or something, right? That's just how businesses work, man. It's unfortunate, but there's no real reason monetarily for the NBA to fix the game, as long as the profits continue to increase. And that's all Adam Silver is interested in. For it to change, you would have to see profits decline. And we are nowhere near that happening in the NBA. Hey, I kind of like Applebee's over here in Hershey, man. The bar is kind of nice, but I don't know if I would eat there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some apps. Maybe some apps, man. Maybe some spinach artichoke dip. Kind of hungry right now, to be honest with you. Might go to Applebee's. Hey, man, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. Another episode of Run It Back NBA. Every single day. Forever. Not every single day. We'll take some days off, but almost every single day, forever. I will be right here. DJ Peru, what up, my guy? Thanks for coming through, man. Thanks for tuning in. DJ Peru, I believe I met you in Allentown years ago. Am I right about that? Or like Bethlehem at some kind of DJ event like a long time ago? Am I right about that? Chicken wonton tacos. Ooh. I think DJ Peru left, man. He's not going to answer my question. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. I remember, bro. Hell yeah. I met you a long time ago at a DJ event, man. And you followed me on Facebook, I think. And then you've just followed my sports stuff ever since, man. I respect that, bro. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to follow and support, my man. Yeah, that's all I got, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace!